All right, you guys. Hello and happy Friday. We are here, you guys, seriously, to talk about diverticulitis and what does poop have to do with it. Abby, I'm so happy that you are here and ready to share your story. And in all honesty, you guys, this is a very serious topic. And we want to share with you just to unpack all things stress, diverticulitis, and in all seriousness, what does poop have to do with it? So, Abby, like,
Well, first off, like hats off to you for encouraging me to come on here. I mean, this has been part of my journey now for 3.5 years. And it's not really a glamorous topic, right? It's not one that I'm afraid to talk about, but it's not one that I probably share enough about. So between you and some other folks in this community, just kind of encouraging me to share my story as more and more people are coming up who are struggling with diverticulitis, and reaching out, kind of needing some help and support. So I think that between those two things, that all really encouraged me to hop on here with you today. So I appreciate that, right? Because that's
I love it.
That's part of my healing journey too, right?
Yes, and it takes a village. You guys, if you're here with us live, drop a live in the comments below. If you're catching this on the replay, hashtag replay always in the comments. And I feel like all of these conversations, like knowledge is power, right? Like if you go back to the moment of when you recognize that you had diverticulitis and like share with us that story.
Yeah, so my journey with diverticulitis is actually a little different than what most people experience, in that I didn't really know I had diverticulitis until I had a very major emergency going on, where I developed a perforation in my sigmoid colon, which is part of your large intestine, and started going septic. So all within a span of like 15 minutes, it got pretty critical. And so for me, that was like a huge wake up call, right? And a huge scare. Like I had never been this sick.
Right.
And I'll just say that as a child, a lot of times, like I was believed to be a hypochondriac. So in my mind, I go back to that place, right? And when I'm really sick, I'm like, I'm fine. But the reality was I was not.
And for those of us that are not really familiar with diverticulitis, can you share a little bit about what that is?
Yes. So diverticulitis is something that develops in your intestines, and it is basically kind of like these pockets that form on the intestinal walls. And so if you can picture, I'm showing my hands, but it's almost like these like fingers come out from the side, and then you have pockets in them. Right. And so as your body's processing waste, that waste gets stuck in those pockets. And then the more that waste gets stuck in there and compacts in there, it develops irritation, more inflammation. And that's a lot of times then when people who have diverticulitis have pain as a result of that.
In your in your stomach area?
Yeah, it'll be like for me, when I went through this, it was in my lower stomach area. Like I didn't know if I had period cramps. Like I was like, what is going on? There's a lot of pressure. And I imagine the pain can be a little bit different for everyone. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm giving you just kind of
but you're sharing your story.
Story. But and so basically over time, I guess I had so much compaction in there and irritation, right? Because it wears at your lining and at that wall, that then I simply developed a perforation. And I'll be honest, like I felt great, probably the best I felt ever. I had gone for a run the night before, and my emergency occurred like at lunchtime. So, it was a relatively short span of time. I was traveling for work, and my coworker actually has video of me dancing in the car that morning. I mean, I was great. And so I think what that also tells me is like, this happens to like normal people who feel healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Diverticulitis isn't something that develops overnight, not over a couple of months. This was a very long, it's funny. I remember I was in the ER and my surgeon came in to kind of tell me what he thought was going on. And I had been eating relatively well. This was during COVID. So as most of us, we had been eating at home and, fresh, clean meals. And I was traveling and I looked at him and I said, I ate pizza last night. Like, did this blow up inside me? And he was like, just started laughing. And he's like, no, this is not from what you ate last night. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know what, like, I'm trying to figure out how this happened. But the reality of it is it takes place like your entire life, and it's impacted by so many things, right? So
tell us more about that. Like, what impacts the pockets? Like, what impacts from your experience and what you've learned?
Yeah. So like for me, when I was in the hospital, they said the main like leading causes of it are stress and diet. Right. And so we think to ourselves like stress, how does stress impact my body inside? Right. Like I feel stress in my brain. I feel it maybe in my heart or in how my, like, your gut, feels at certain times. But the reality is like stress is a huge cause of disease. Right.
Yeah. Well, stress creates inflammation, and the inflammation opens the door, and how each inflammation opens the door for disease, and how each of our bodies process that is different. So for you, it came in the form of diverticulitis. What else contributes to that on top of stress?
Well, so I would say stress, and then I would say diet, right? And so like I said, I was feeling great. My diet has cleaned up significantly in the last 5 years, particularly since starting on the protocols.
The gut health protocols.
Yeah, the gut health protocols. Because my cravings have changed, right? So what I desire to eat is much improved and cleaner and better. But the reality is that when I was a child and really through college, and I would say like early adulthood, like just after college, I was eating processed food like crazy. I ate whatever was fast, whatever was convenient, what was ever out of a box, because I, for various reasons, am not a great cook. And so that's not my goal though for 2024. For the more in 2024, I'm going to do better with that. But I mean, really, right? And I think so many of us were of that mindset, or still are of that mindset. Like,
well, I think a lot of times, especially with the diet culture and things that are, marketed, it's, oh, have this bar, have this quick snack, have this grab and go meal. And you don't realize the implications it has on the stress and inflammation in your body, because you're eating the processed food, you're eating the sugar, you're eating what's quick and easy. You're running through Starbucks and grabbing a giant coffee and then grabbing a donut or grabbing a croissant or something. And those foods consistently over time have created a giant impact in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like your low fiber, refined sugar, all of these things, that chemicals and things that are not natural, that are not, that are coming in then and impeding the way that your body is functioning and processing. And then over time, how that wears on you. So, like if anybody's watching this that is suffering with diverticulitis, I guess like the main things that I would encourage you to focus on, because I ended up having a full bowel resection, a colostomy bag, a reversal. And it was a really, really challenging time. And I would never want anybody to go through that. Because I can cope with a lot, but that was pretty terrible.
And we're here, you guys, to raise awareness and
normalcy, right?
Normalcy around this does happen. What can you do to prevent it from happening? And if you could turn back the clock, 10 years or 20 years, like what you would do differently to prevent yourself from being in this situation. And if you are in this situation, like actual, like tactical things that you can do right now to make yourself feel better.
So Well, I mean, obviously, like looking back, when I look back, I would say like my mind, um, just being kind of an anxious mind. I was never labeled that, but now I can look back and see it,
Mhm.
right? And I was always kind of thinking and processing, and even as like a parent and a working professional prior to going on these gut health protocols, I was grinding. I was trying to keep up, and I had no space to like
Mhm.
really think about these things, right? Like people would say, "Oh, Cheez-Its, they're bad for you," or like, "Oh, processed food's bad for you." And I'm like, "Oh, there's a lot that's bad for me." You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm gonna pick my poison. Like, I'm not smoking. I'm not, overly drinking. Like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think,
like a really good point though.
yeah, because like when you, one of the biggest things from being on this protocol is that it's helped me to slow my mind down
Mhm.
and be more resilient. And I know that there are so many people who are in that boat that I was in who struggle. And just like you were saying earlier, like you go for the quickest thing, you just like you're getting by. And the reality is like you can do better than getting by, and you have to just lean in. And I mean, I'm telling you, I'm on here because I want to share this with people. It will make a huge difference in your life, whether it's your mental health or obviously, as we're talking about today, your physical health.
Yeah.
Right. And so looking back, I wish I had these solutions because I think so much would have turned out differently for me. Right. And then I would say, if you're someone like there was somebody I was chatting with 2 or 3 days ago who reached out, who just found out they have diverticulitis, they've been hospitalized. I would say work on better management of your stress, how you
Mhm.
can reduce it, right? Reducing your inflammation, which you can do through stress management, looking at what you're eating, trying to avoid all processed foods or drastically cut them back. I mean, the reality is no one's perfect. I think even like Dr. Sean says he's 80/20. You know.
Mhm. Well, I mean, that's normal, right? Because we're not gonna never have anything processed.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna
And
tell you that I don't ever eat it, but I eat way I mean, significantly less than I ever did, you
yeah,
know?
you're more aware. And
Yeah.
even by adding, if you cut out processed food, adding in fiber, just
Yes.
whole food fiber, not Metamucil or something from, that doesn't count. Like actual food helps for your body to not only process the stress, but to lower the inflammation.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, like, I was never, like, a nut eater, and they actually say with diverticulitis not to eat, or they used to say not to eat nuts, but then I was told that that's not true anymore. Nuts
Mhm.
and seeds are okay. And then I would say, like, increase your water intake, right? Um, drop sodas, drop anything that's got that added refined sugar. Movement, just walking actually helps you to move waste through your body,
Yeah.
believe it or not. And then I also supplement with a digestive enzyme that improves your gut motility. So the big
Mhm.
thing that you want to do, in addition to reducing that inflammation, is you want to get the waste out of your body so that it doesn't have that ability or like that time even to be stored, right?
Mhm.
And to get stuck in there. So that's really what I would tell people. And I think yes, Dana, like such a good point about increasing that fiber intake.
Yeah,
Uh,
naturally, because like when you talk about being stressed, like I remember this phase in your life
yeah,
where you and it's normal, right? We all get into this place where you're grinding, you're, the CEO of your life, your mom, you've got 3 kids, you're running a business, you're doing all the things, trying to be at basketball games and soccer games and all the things. And we tend to put ourselves last.
yeah,
And so not prioritizing, not understanding the link between the quick fix for food, the Cheez-Its, the run drive through at Starbucks, the whatever you're grabbing and going quickly, not connecting the dots for what that can be doing long term, but
yeah,
also not taking the time because you don't have the time to work out, to
yeah,
to walk for 20 minutes. So you were saying like, okay, the night before you ran before this happened because you were already like, okay, I'm on a journey. I need to
yeah,
pivot the way
yeah,
that I'm living my life. And it's really crazy how like the interjection of when you went into the hospital to where you were on already on the path to, okay, I can do this better.
Yeah. And I will say that, like, I think that I probably recovered better. I mean, this is the procedure I had, it's a major surgery, right? It's a major organ.
You had a colonoscopy bag. That is
Yeah.
it's a major surgery.
Yeah. And let me tell you, that's not pretty. So like nobody wants to end up there. But I would say that, like, coming out of it, I remember reaching out to you because when I was hospitalized, I couldn't eat or drink anything, like no water. I had chloroseptic spray like 3 times a day for 8 days. And that was all that I could put in my body. What I will say is I remember when I got back home, and I reached out to you and I said, can you please find out if this stuff is safe to take? Like, I'm home and I got to get back on it. Like, my anxiety, everything, right, was racing. My body was different than it was a week and a half before. And I remember you wrote me back and you were like, yeah, you're totally fine to start it. Like, you checked in with Dr. Sean and it was really incredible because, you know, I'm picturing that things were going to be kind of crazy after having this kind of major surgery. And it's these products are very gentle. I can tell you that. I won't help you visualize it, but they're very gentle. And I really feel that they helped me in my recovery because from a mental aspect, they helped me with my stress resilience and to keep a more positive mindset.
Yeah.
And also I just think that they helped me with the inflammation, right? And
100%.
getting that down in my body quickly, coming out of that surgery, prior, you know, to having to go in between my first surgery and my second surgery. And then even after my second. So I'm super grateful. And I'm always happy to be a resource for anybody who has questions or, you know, wants to know more. Feel free to reach out through this group. You can tag me. If you don't remember my name, you can just say, hey, who was it? Who did this? Who talked about it?
God. I want to interject one thing. So, like, as we were talking about your stress and overwhelm and like grinding, like just getting through the day because you have a list of 90 things and time to do 50. Like, where in the story, because before you started your exercise routine and cleaning up your diet, Happy Juice was entered into your life. So you started on, you know, the protocol, the happy Juice and digestive and whatever else you were taking. And then after your overwhelm kind of came down a little bit, you were like, okay, I'm going to find time to run. I'm going to find time to eat a little bit better. And you were already you had pivoted toward your health journey when you actually went into the hospital with this, you know, crazy rupture. So I just wanted to point that out, that was part of the pivot in your mind to when you decided to prioritize yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, again, being on these solutions help you to be able, like, people will say, oh, well, I'm going to work out first before I try these, or I'm going to do this first. But the reality is this is kind of the foundational point that helps you to be able and support you to be able to do these other things that you want to do. And yeah, I had started on that journey. And I will say that another thing I said to the surgeon, in that, you know, ER time frame was, I was like, you know, they ask you what medication you're on. I'm like, I'm not on any medication. I was like, but I do take these supplements, you know, like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And he was awesome. And he said, hey, listen, I grew up, like, my family had a holistic grocery, like, store. Like, I believe in this. They looked everything up. They're like, yeah, this is.
No, I remember you brought it to the hospital. You were like, I need a can. Like, can you bring this? I need to show this to the doctor.
Yeah. I was like, this isn't, and they were like, these are actually great products. Mm-hmm. And even one of the surgeons told me after my surgery that she had gone and ordered them because she really, like, thought that they were great in terms of how they were working and what they were doing. So I was like, that's a good sign. But anyways, I'm probably going down a whole other line.
Yeah, but it helped you. Like, the point of the story is that it helped for you. I truly feel like knowing you firsthand and seeing you all the time, like, helped you with your stress resilience before.
Yep.
So that you could lean in to prioritizing you, eating better because your cravings were changing naturally, having the time and the energy, prioritizing the time and the energy to work out. And then after, helping your mental state, because you're carrying around this I mean, you guys, if you're resonating with this story, like drop a resonate in the comments below, because like if you can picture, and Abby, you kind of glossed over it, but like picturing having gone through the surgery where part of your intestine is removed and then not being able to function in the bathroom for how many months did you have to?
Well, I mean, you could totally function, but you don't have to be in the bathroom. Get it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like, yeah.
I mean, okay, we'll be candid. I told some people this was going to be candid, but like that is the deal. And you have to have a fair amount of stress resilience. I will tell you that, like, I remember, you know, they try to get you in the hospital to like look at your body and accept the kind of change that's taken place. And I remember once I got home and everything was becoming a little more of a reality, and I had to look in the mirror. I literally almost passed out because so I quickly realized I had to develop some serious stress resilience, or like, you know, make sure that I was believing it and living in that. And because it's really easy to go down into negativity and depression and think, what the hell just happened to me? Like, I am pooping out my stomach, basically. Okay. It's pretty weird feeling. Now, I would say there's a lot worse that can happen, but it was really pretty bad. So, they definitely helped me to be able to, you know, have that resilience, have that positive mindset, remind myself that it could be much worse, which then in turn helps how you heal. Right.
It totally, your mindset. I mean, and we can say this in a million times, but your mind has such a power over the way that you carry stress, the inflammation that's created in your body, the additional inflammation because you have a negative mindset. So the happy juice and digestive has helped not only for your mind, but also helped you heal faster, because your whole body was working together and you felt better. So you were able to push yourself through a little bit quicker and a little bit better. And I just am so appreciative that you're sharing. And this is, how many years ago did this happen? 5?
No, it was 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it will be 3 years ago in a couple of weeks that I went in for my second surgery. So it's really just a reminder, y'all, life is short. You got to like love hard, you know, live your best, and like, don't sweat the small stuff. That sounds so cliche, but that's really one thing I've learned. Don't get caught up in the negativity, because like Dana just said, it really impacts your, not just your mental health, but your physical health. And like, life's just too short. And, you know, we gotta lift each other up and, you know, stay positive and share and shine that light with everybody. So
so that you can live better, and understanding too, that like, if you are struggling with that, which I have shared that I have, and you have shared that you have, like, that's why we have these tools. These tools will not, like, where's my happy juice? Like this, my happy juice. I
got mine right here.
I got mine. Like, it's not going to fix your problem. It's not going to fix your diverticulitis. It's not going to fix anything, but it will help support your mind and your body, the stress, the inflammation, all the things, so that you can show up for yourself better, your family better, all of the things better. You guys, first and foremost, I want, if you're here watching us live, drop a huge thank you to Abby for sharing her story.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
Thanks for letting me share my story.
For coming on and for just being real, because that's what this group is all about. We're here to link arms with you and help you to show up at your very best. And diverticulitis is real. Stress is real. And what you do in the face of stress is up to you. So we're opening our arms to embrace the happy juice, embrace all of the things, tag the person that invited you to this group, and ask them how to help you best to get on the best protocol. If you want to know the exact protocol Abby's on, tag Abby in the comments and she can share everything. But the first step, and I want to make this like really simple, the first step is always happy juice.
Yeah.
Happy juice. Yeah. Start with happy juice. And then add on other things. Don't have an all or nothing mindset, and don't be like, oh my gosh, there's so much. Where do I start? It's simple. You start with happy juice. Step 1. It will help your mind. It will help your inflammation. It will help your stress. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for being here with us live. Have an awesome day. Tag a friend that could use to hear this story. And thanks again, Abby.
All right. Have a great